The New York Knicks will sign Kemba Walker as a free agent, sources tell The Athletic. Let's bring in Frank Isola, the Nets studio host on Yes, also has a Sirius XM radio show, the starting lineup, and contributor to Around the Horn, and pardon the interruption. Let me start there. The Knicks, they're getting these players. Yes, it's the magic of the playoffs, that win against the Hawks, Frank. They got Kemba Walker, and your reaction is?
Well, he, as you know, Dan, he is a New Yorker, and he's an upgrade on what they had. So you put him with Derrick Rose as your 2 point guards. It's not terrible. You know, the problem with Kemba Walker, and we saw him get exposed a couple of times or a few times defensively, he is undersized. And the big thing with him will be, can he stay healthy? Remember, last year, the Celtics, they weren't playing Kemba in back-to-backs. The idea was to keep him ready and fresh for the playoffs, and then he ended up missing playoff games. So who knows what his health is at this point.
All right, let's look at the Lakers step by step, move by move here. Let's start with Russell. So, upgrade for you? You like the move with Russell Westbrook?
I like it during the regular season. How it works in the playoffs, I don't know, because he's a ball-dominant guard who's not a great shooter. And, when you do get to the playoffs in these, crucial moments of games, you want the ball in LeBron James's hands. So if Russell Westbrook going to be playing off the ball, and if so, is he going to be the one knocking down shots? I get it. To get through a regular season, LeBron, doesn't want to play 82 games at this stage of his career. He wants guys to carry him. And it's almost as if he knows now that Anthony Davis can't be that guy. I understand why they did it. In theory, it's an upgrade. I'll be interested to see how it works during the postseason.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It feels like Russ, he never takes a possession off. Like every possession matters to him, and he'll play hard the entire regular season. Although there are times when I want him to maybe take a couple of plays off or not
Exactly.
have every possession mean as much. All right, now you get Melo. What do you think of the addition of Melo?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Carmelo the last few years, I mean, he's accepted his role. He's now a bit player who will play between 20 and 25 minutes a game. He could still knock down mid-range jumpers. I get it. He and LeBron have been friends since high school. They've always wanted to play together. They played together on the national team. They've been in all-star teams together. I think it's fine because you're not getting Carmelo. You're not asking him to be your starting power forward. He is getting up there in age, but he proved on Portland he could be a contributing player. I think he wants to make a run at it. You've seen that list. There's only 8 guys that have won a national championship, a college championship, and then a gold medal, and Carmelo wants to be the 9th guy to do that.
All right, the other additions here. Who stands out more?
Well, Westbrook is obviously a really good one.
Malik Monk, Kent Bazemore, Wayne Ellington.
I mean, they needed shooting. So in theory, I would say, Wayne Ellington isn't a bad one. I think getting Dwight Howard back is good. Dan, if you look last year with Montrezl Harrell, they got Montrezl Harrell on a bargain basement contract, and he did not play well. I mean, he really didn't give them a lot. And it's interesting. If you look at what happened with Giannis Antetokounmpo in the finals, where Phoenix really didn't have anybody after DeAndre Ayton to deal with him, all of a sudden size seems to matter again in the NBA. And Dwight Howard helped the Lakers when they won a title. And Dwight has kind of become, in a lot of ways, morphing into a bit of a Dennis Rodman type where he's constantly out there trying to agitate the opposition, trying to draw technical fouls. He's really done a good job developing into that kind of role player. So I think he's going to help them a lot. For the money, to me, he's an upgrade over Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah, and I agree with you on the Rodman Dwight Howard comparison because knowing your role is really important when you get on a LeBron team. And I also wonder, can they do anything with Dennis Schroeder with a sign and trade? Can the Lakers? Because I still, it's weird. Through free agency, I mentioned this. I thought of Dame Lillard and Dennis Schroeder. Schroeder turning down the extension with the Lakers, and then was he going to be in no man's land? And Dame Lillard looking around going, we got Cody Zeller and Tony Snell and Ben McLemore. We're not going anywhere. But can the Lakers benefit from Dennis Schroeder with a sign and trade?
Yeah, they could still get something for him. And that's why you love when guys say, bet on yourself. Well, Dennis Schroeder bet on himself. It really hasn't worked out to this point. He should have taken that $84 million contract that he was offered. You mentioned Damian Lillard. I would think that this year they'll try to get through the season with Lillard. And if it doesn't work out, then I could see a trade. At the earliest, the deadline, I doubt that would happen. I could see something with Damian Lillard around next year's NBA draft. That's usually when these big deals tend to happen. So if it doesn't work out for Portland, if they're not making steady progress in the Western Conference, I think that Damian Lillard will be out by next summer.
Steph Curry signed a new extension. And the
Yep.
last year of that deal, I think he makes close to $60 million.
Crazy.
Where is this? Is this sustainable, Frank?
I don't know how it is. And you know that a lot of owners are talking about this. And when the collective bargaining agreement, whenever it does expire, it's got to be something that will be addressed. At least Steph Curry in his case. Now, who knows what he's going to be like 5 years from now when the contract expires, because it doesn't even kick in until next season. But he has been an unbelievable player, two-time All-Star. He's won finals there. You know, he's revitalized that entire organization. One of the reasons they were able to build that amazing arena that they have. But there's going to come a point where you look at some of these contracts, even Lonzo Ball getting 4 years, $85 million. He's a very good player. All he's done has been on losing teams.
Yeah.
And it's, so I get it. You're paying for potential. With Steph, you're paying for services already rendered. But the money is crazy. I think in the NBA world, they're calling it Dan Patrick money.
Oh, is that what it is?
That Steph Curry got. Yes, very much so.
I think it's Bill Simmons money, but but 60 million. Where we freak out when Patrick Mahomes signs his deal, and we go, "Oh my God, they're paying him that much," and you're going, like he would be just another marquee player in the NBA with his salary here.
Yeah, I remember when Eli Manning first signed his contract with the Giants. They said it was $100 million, but the guaranteed money was what Trevor Ariza was making on a mid-level exception. So Eli Manning was basically getting Trevor Ariza money. But Dan, you know this, when you go back to Michael Jordan's last 2 years with the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan got $30 million for both those. He was like, in the $30 to $35 million range. And even back then, you're like, you know what? He's definitely worth it. But now you think all these years later, Steph Curry essentially is going to be making double that. Amazing.
But it didn't count against the cap with Jordan, did it?
No.
Yeah,
No.
So,
He was, remember, that's when the Knicks fans, as you know, we're still playing this game, where the Knicks fan was thinking maybe Michael Jordan would take the mid-level exception or minimum to come play in New York. And then Jerry Reinsdorf stepped up to the plate and said, I'll give you $30 million. And then I think it was 30, then $33 million. And Michael Jordan wisely stayed in Chicago, won 2 more championships, and got his money.
do you think the Knicks feel Zion Williamson will be in play for them in a couple of years?
I definitely think they do believe that. And when Zion played at Madison Square Garden the last time around, he recited all the familiar verses about it's the Mecca of basketball. It's a great place to play. It was almost as if the Knicks gave him a script. And you look at New Orleans, they got a lot of good young players. They haven't come close to sniffing the playoffs yet. So, the Western Conference is tough. So it could get to a point with Zion where the Pelicans are in the same position they were in with Anthony Davis, where you're looking to get assets, draft picks. At least that's something that right now the Knicks still have.
The Kawhi Leonard situation with the Clippers, where coming off the ACL, does he even play this year? Does he want to play this year? What do you like the Clippers? It feels like they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. What do you think makes the most sense in this situation from the Clippers' perspective?
Well, considering everything that they gave up to get Paul George, all those first-round picks, do they really have any other option but to re-sign Kawhi Leonard? Likely not going to play this season, just like a similar situation with the Nets and Kevin Durant, his first year there where he didn't play. And then you just keep your fingers crossed that he's going to be healthy enough and he'll, still come back in top form. What I don't get though, Dan, is you have Kawhi, it came out. Now, Kawhi didn't say it. It was reports that he wanted to talk to other teams. Talk to other teams about what? First of all, not a lot of teams have money. And at some point, I know this is like a bad word in sports. Does loyalty ever come into the equation? You wanted them to go out and get Paul George. They moved heaven and earth to get him. And now here you are, knowing that you're not even going to play. And you're saying, well, maybe I'll talk to other teams. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes with Kawhi that if it was somebody else, we would be calling them out.
Bingo.
It feels like, because Kawhi is not media friendly. You don't hear much from him, but it feels like somebody's pulling strings behind the scenes here, whether it's Kawhi or his uncle. Like something's going on there, and it doesn't seem like he gets a lot of blame.
No, he doesn't. I think maybe being aloof has something to do with the fact that you said he's really not that engaging with the media. Even when they lost last year, when they blew the 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets, you're the star player of the team. Usually in those situations, if that's LeBron, wherever he is, if it's Patrick Ewing when he was in New York, you're going to get crushed. And it was like, well, Doc Rivers, it's really his fault that we lost, or it's this guy's fault, or Paul George. Nobody really blamed the star of the team, and it's his uncle Dennis who I think is sometimes pulling the strings. Who, by the way, lives in the same area as Kyrie Irving. So that would be a good little lunch date. Get together with Uncle Dennis and Kyrie, talk basketball.
How did the Nets do in the offseason?
I think they did really well. First of all, the three talented players that they have should be healthy for the start of the season. But Patty Mills is good.
Yeah.
And Patty Mills was thinking about the Lakers, came to the Nets. I'm sure the whole Sean Marks, the San Antonio Spur Mafia, Steve Nash being an international player like Patty Mills, I'm sure that'll factor in. That's a great signing for them. Go back to the playoffs. Joe Harris, great regular season, but some clutch moments, especially in that Game 7, couldn't knock down a shot. Patty Mills will make those shots.
Yeah, I brought that up. It's one thing to hit a jumper when you're blowing teams out by 30 in the regular season and you're having a and one mixtape there.
Yep.
But when it's this possession, you need to hit this shot. And that's why I wonder about the players the Lakers brought in. For the most part, these guys, Malik Monk and Kent Bazemore, Wayne Ellington,
you're right.
They haven't hit big shots
Trevor
before.
Ariza.
Yeah, they haven't hit big shots. And I think that'll be, the interesting part of this. Would you bet on the Lakers playing for a championship this year?
The only reason why I think I might is just because I don't know the situation with Jamal Murray in Denver. There's, he got injured April 12th. The season is going to end right around that time. So that's a year out of having ACL surgery. Kawhi's not going to play. And the big thing will be, and it's true of everybody, health will be a factor. If LeBron is healthy, Anthony Davis is healthy by the start of the playoffs, I think the Lakers can get there. The Nets probably have a bit of a tougher road with Milwaukee and Miami, but I think the Nets are the best team. And maybe you'll get a finals with the dynamic between Kyrie and LeBron, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, and then in the case of Anthony Davis and James Harden, the two guys that forced their way out of their teams, pretty nasty divorce. So it almost works perfectly if we get them in NBA Finals. Good
to talk to you, Frank. Thanks, bud.
Good seeing you, Dan. Take care.
That's Frank Isola, Nets studio host on Yes, also has his own show on Sirius XM. NBA Radio, the starting lineup, and contributor to Around the Horn. And pardon the interruption.